Hello, welcome back to Sk2 Film Clip.
Today, I'm going to explain an American science fiction action movie titled Race to Witch Mountain. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. An alien spacecraft crashes near Searchlight, Nevada, about 45 miles outside of Las Vegas. Therefore, a secret Defense Department unit called Project Moon Dust immediately comes to the location to inspect the alien spacecraft. The unit is led by Henry Burke, who orders his men to search for the spacecraft's passengers with the intention of harnessing their DNA and powers. Back in Las Vegas, there is a former mob getaway driver, named Jack Bruno, who is now working as a taxicab driver to avoid returning to jail. One of his passengers is Dr. Alex Friedman, a failed astrophysicist who has come to Las Vegas to speak at a UFO convention at the Planet Hollywood Hotel. The next morning, Project Moon Dust manages to find traces of the aliens not far from the scene of the crash. After investigation, it turns out that the traces of the aliens are predicted to be similar to humans. Knowing this, Henry immediately orders his men to track the aliens. Meanwhile, Jack is accosted by two thugs who seek his services for a mob boss named Andrew Wolf. But he refuses the offer and beats the thugs while a policeman comes and tells them to leave the place. After that, he suddenly finds two teenage siblings in his taxi, named Sarah and Seth. It turns out that they are the spaceship's passengers. At first, Jack refuses to drive them to an unknown destination, but eventually he agrees when they offer him $15,000. At the same time, Henry's men are tracking down the teenagers through various discoveries, such as stolen clothes, a car being burglarized, a bus leading to Las Vegas, and an ATM being deprived of all of its contents, which eventually pinpoints their location in Jack's taxi. Thus, Henry and his men decide to chase after them. After a while, the teenagers realize that several cars are chasing them from behind. Unbeknownst to him, Jack gives way to them, but unfortunately his car is hit by them. Mistaking Henry and his men as another thugs, he tries to evade them with his driving skills. It is revealed that Seth has the ability to vary his molecular density, which he uses to stop Henry by crashing himself into Henry's car. Sarah also uses her telepathy and telekinesis to send Jack's taxi backwards so Seth can get back inside. Besides that, Jack gets out of the taxi and warns Henry not to bother him again. They finally continue on their journey in peace. Later, they arrive at the unknown destination, which is an abandoned house. Sarah and Seth rush to the house just as Jack wants to give them change because they overpaid earlier. He then decides to follow them out of concern and curiosity. Inside, he meets Sarah and Seth, who tells him to go home immediately, but he ends up going with them because he is very curious about what they are going to do next. After that, Seth uses his device to open the secret door to a hidden underground laboratory, where there are many strange plants. There, he uses his device to find a mark on one of the strange plants. Sarah then places her key on the strange plant, where they can find the device that they have been looking for. Suddenly, the three are attacked by the Siphon, a powerful armored alien assassin from outer space. Siphon attacks them to retrieve the device which Seth and Sarah just found. Since the group feels Siphon is too strong, they decide to run away from the abandoned house. The Siphon continues to chase while shooting at them using its spaceship. Luckily, Jack had a brilliant idea, which is to get onto the railroad tracks that lead to the tunnel. Not long after, a train is coming from the opposite direction. With Sarah's help, Jack's taxi is able to go very fast and manages to get out of the tunnel, while Siphon's spaceship crashes into the train and the creature is seriously injured. Afterwards, Sarah and Seth explain everything to Jack that they are not Earth creatures. Jack does not believe them at first, but eventually believes when Sarah proves her otherworldly biology to him. Since his taxi is badly damaged, they decide to look for a repair shop. While waiting for the taxi to be fixed, the three of them settle at a dinner to calm their nerves. A few moments later, Jack receives a call from Henry, who directly makes an offer to hand over Sarah and Seth. Meanwhile, Henry and his army have surrounded the bar. When they enter the bar, they are intercepted by the local police. The police forbid Burke and his army from bringing weapons inside. Jack, Sarah, and Seth use the opportunity to escape through another door. They return to the repair shop to pick up Jack's taxi, which has been repaired. On the other hand, Henry sees them running away and he immediately orders his troops to shoot Jack's taxi. Fortunately, Sarah manages to stop them using her ability so they can escape Henry's men again. On their journey, Sarah and Seth are confused on what to do next because they want to return to their world, but their spacecraft has been confiscated by Moondust. Because Jack does not know anything about UFOs, he brings them to Dr. Friedman at the UFO convention. Arriving at Planet Hollywood Hotel, they meet Dr. Friedman at her room. Jack immediately explains to her that the two teenagers are from another planet. Despite initially dismissing Jack's story, she believes him after Seth and Sarah show off their powers and narrate their current situation. It is revealed that they are aliens from a dying planet located 3,000 light years from Earth, and are able to travel by using wormholes on their spaceships. Its government intended to invade Earth, despite the majority of their race being fully opposed to the plan, so that their kind may survive. Seth and Sarah's parents are scientists who sought a way to save their planet without invasion, but unfortunately they were arrested before completing their experiment. The teenagers came to retrieve the successful results, but the alien government sent the siphon to stop them because they still have their sights on invading Earth rather than trying to save their home planet. To save both worlds, they must retrieve their spaceship and return home with the results in order to prevent the invasion from happening. Because of this, Dr. Friedman realizes that the teenagers are what she has been searching for and decides to join the group. Soon, they meet fellow UFOlogist and conspiracy theorist Dr. Donald Harlan, who knows where Seth and Sarah's spacecraft are located. He tells them that the spacecraft was taken to the secret US government base, called Witch Mountain. Subsequently, Harlan and his men distract the soldiers with Jack's taxi while the others escape to Witch Mountain in Harlan's RV after evading the siphon. After a long journey, the group arrives at the base near Witch Mountain. When they reach the cliff, they are suddenly captured by Henry and his men. Henry orders that the teenagers be prepared for vivisection in the secret base. However, he warns Jack not to fight him, because later he will easily send Jack to the prison. As a result, he finally gives up and chooses to go home with Dr. Friedman. When they are led home by Henry's troops, Jack suddenly changes his mind to save the teenagers. He immediately beats the troops and then they drive back towards the secret base. Later, the siphon attacks Witch Mountain and engages the Moon Dust soldiers, allowing Jack and Dr. Friedman to infiltrate the base. Long story short, both of them are able to sneak into the laboratory where the teenagers are going to be operated on. They immediately incapacitate the scientists inside and also free Seth and Sarah. After that, the group heads to the research room. It looks like the other scientists are trying to power up the spacecraft. Then Dr. Friedman distracts the scientists to leave the research room, while Seth and Sarah power up the spacecraft using their device. At the same time, Henry appears and thanks them for powering up the spacecraft. They hold hands as Henry's troops shoot them. Surprisingly, Sarah manages to hold the bullet using her powers. Meanwhile, the siphon suddenly fires a missile at Henry's troops. The group uses the opportunity to launch the spacecraft, escaping through the mountain's tunnels. Somehow, the siphon has stowed away on the spacecraft and it immediately beats up Jack. After its helmet comes off, Seth helps Jack to kill the siphon by dropping it into the combustion engine. In the end, they land somewhere and the teenagers give Jack and Dr. Friedman a tracking device that will allow the aliens to always find them. They tearfully wish them farewell, but not before Sarah gives her telepathic powers to Jack. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you did, subscribe if you're new. And at last, I'll say stay well, stay safe, thanks.